Cayla Barnes is a PWHL Seattle defender. Cayla, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You were recently part of a hockey video with several NHL players, including Matty Beniers of the Kraken. Let's take a look.
9 pro hockey players are competing for $1,000 in a 1v1 tournament. Let's get into it right now.
My name is Cayla Barnes and I play for PWHL Seattle.
Matty Beniers, Seattle Kraken.
Score! Oh! Barnes! Oh!
Slick moves and a goal. What was going on there?
We were at a Bauer event in Massachusetts, just trying out some of the new gear, and there was women's players there and men's players there, so we were just having a fun one-on-one 2v2 kind of tournament series there, so that was really fun.
You're from Eastvale, California. That's 45 miles east of LA. As we're recording this, the high temperature in Eastvale is 82 degrees today. So I'm guessing not an ice hockey hotbed. So how did you end up with a life on skates?
Yeah, it's definitely, when I was growing up, hockey was just kind of coming into town. Obviously the Ducks and the Kings are there, and that was starting to grow. But my brothers all played. I have 4 older brothers, and they really were into roller hockey growing up. And then transitioned kind of to ice hockey as they got into roller hockey. So I just wanted to do what they did. I started as a figure skater. My mom was super excited to get me on skates and be able to like dress me up, and the only girl in the family. And I was like, I hate it. I don't want to do this. I want to do what my brothers are doing. So I eventually made the switch and just never looked back.
In 2017, you got cut from Team USA for the 2018 Olympics, but you didn't stay cut. What happened?
Yeah, so I went to that tryout camp. That was my first time with the national team. Didn't know what to expect, really. Just kind of was hoping for a really good opportunity and a really good opportunity to learn. Being 18 years old and it being my first time. And yeah, I didn't make it, which was okay. I went on to start my freshman year at Boston College. And then 5 games into my season, around October, the GM called me and said, we would like you to rejoin the team. So basically within 72 hours, I packed up my dorm, dropped out of school, and moved down to Florida to start residency with a team I've never been a part of, and girls I had never really met but had idolized growing up. There's a ton of legends on that team. So it was a really unique opportunity for me to kind of learn and grow. And they were super welcoming. They guided me through the whole thing, and just an amazing experience overall. And then obviously we got to win a gold medal. So that is something that I will obviously cherish forever and never forget.
Spoiler alert, Cayla. Before we get to that, in pre-Olympics games for Team USA, you score a goal in the first period of your first game against Finland, and then you score again in your second game against Canada. Do you remember those, or is it all a blur now?
No, I definitely remember them. I don't think you ever really forget your first national team goal or your first national team appearance, really. My nerves were through the roof. I think I was shaking standing on the blue line. But, once you get into the game, it kind of all fades away. And I knew that my teammates were really excited for me to be there and have that opportunity. And they, like I said, were guiding me through that. So definitely I still have the puck. It's in my room at home. It was an awesome, experience, and something I won't forget for sure.
You were the youngest player on the team, but one of your teammates called you wise beyond your years in terms of your poise. And your coach said admiringly that you didn't get overwhelmed. And this is when you were 19 years old. Where does that calmness in the midst of chaos come from?
Honestly, that's a great question. I think I was kind of just born this way.
That might make a good song.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I've always been able to handle, pressure pretty well. Obviously, everyone has breaking points at some point, but just the ability to, never get too high or never get too low and just stay calm is something that has always, pushed me towards success and has benefited me as a player. So I've, tried to find ways to always get in that, I call it like a flow state, that just kind of keeps me even keel throughout games and, high stress situations.
After the 22-23 season at Boston College, you and one of your future Seattle teammates, goalie Hannah Bilka, decided to leave Boston College for Ohio State. Did you make that decision together, and what went into that decision?
Yeah, I was at Boston College for 5 years. Had a great experience there and really enjoyed my time. It was a great school, a great city. But really, just for my 5th year is my last year of eligibility, and I just wanted to kind of have a new experience. It was my last chance to try something new and do something that was outside of my comfort zone. I was pretty comfortable at BC, and I really wanted to push myself and step outside of that. So that's kind of why I chose to go to Ohio State. Completely different school, completely different, coaching style, vibe, team dynamic, totally different. Had to, step into that, and it was an amazing experience. I loved that year. And in regards to Bilka or Hannah, she had her own process. We did not speak about this process. We were really good friends, and she's one of my best friends, but we really wanted to take that time and just find our own way. And it happened to go, lead us back to each other, which was really nice, that we ended up on the same team, but we definitely had our own paths and own journey, and we really didn't tell each other much until the end.
There's a real rivalry between Midwest college hockey and Eastern and New England college hockey. You've experienced both. How do you compare the two?
I don't think you can. I think they're completely different styles of hockey. I think it's, just two different types of, the game. But it's always fun when, kind of the West gets to play the East, and those matchups are always great. So I'm lucky that I got to experience both and have, opportunities in both spaces, because I think both, have advantages and taught me a lot.
The decision to go to Ohio State sure paid off. You had the nation's best plus minus at plus 71, won a national title with the Buckeyes. And maybe what impressed me most reading up on it, in the national championship game against Wisconsin, you had 5 blocks. What is it that allows you, when most of us would be trying to get out of the way of a frozen rubber disc coming at us, that you decide, I'm going to put myself in the way?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you just got to do what you got to do sometimes. And I want to win. So I'm very competitive, and, that's part of my nature, is just doing whatever it takes to win. And if that means putting my body out there to get hit, if that means that, it saves a goal or, is an opportunity for us to transition and move the other way, I will do that. So I'm not afraid of that. I actually really enjoy that part of the game, like not necessarily getting hit and getting bumps and bruises and stuff, but I enjoy, being that type of player.
Here's what Buckeyes coach Muzzerall said about you after the game, quote, "You want the puck on the stick of somebody like Barnes because she has such a high IQ and a great sense of vision. She knows how to move it fast and be simple with plays." So are fast and simple good ways to describe your style?
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, I think that, I like to, move the puck up the ice. I like to jump in the play, but be efficient and be fast with it. There's no need to overcomplicate things. Hockey, when you break it down, is actually a pretty simple game. People just make it really complex. So just, finding outlets and ways to kind of simplify the game and move through the game most efficiently is how I like to play.
You were chosen 5th overall in 2024 by Montreal. but left unprotected this year. Did that surprise you?
Honestly, no. I think that, I didn't really know what was going to happen, but, the 3 players that Montreal protected are not only phenomenal hockey players, but phenomenal people as well. And I completely understand the, complexity of the situation that these GMs were in. 3 players is not a lot. And so at the end of the day, they had to do and make a decision that was best for their business. And I understood that. And, to the 3 players that were protected there, like I said, phenomenal hockey players and phenomenal humans, and they deserve to be protected as they were. So, I wasn't necessarily surprised at that situation.
Have you advised the PWHL Seattle training staff to have bags of ice ready for you between periods?
I haven't had that conversation yet, but I'm sure I will at some point.
You want to explain a little bit more about what we're talking about?
Yeah, I just get really warm on the ice. I sweat a lot because I'm working so hard out there. I just need something to cool me down. So I typically get a bag of ice and just put it on my head and just sit there in between periods just to bring down the body temperature a little bit.
Okay. There's an amazing video of you, no ice involved except the one underneath your skates, in a skills competition where, to me, you're like Annie Oakley on skates. Let's take a look.
Have him on the bench.
There's a lot of pucks.
We have Cayla Barnes, potential 12 points out of this. 6 pucks. Let's see you game.
Go.
She's 1 for 1. 1 point. She's got 2.
Nice.
That's 3 points.
She's on
4.
fire.
Oh my gosh. She might sneak a ball. Oh. She's got 6. 7. Barnes, you go for the far one. Oh!
Wow.
With the mic drop.
Nice.
Unreal. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I think that might have it. First one. That was impressive.
She almost closed the thing.
Was that?
That was impressive.
Yeah, thank you. That was a fun one. I would do that again.
Had you had any practice attempts?
No, they just really threw us to the fire with that one and said, this is the competition. Here we go.
I don't think you know this, but your height is listed at 5'1". The league average is 5'7". So how do you win puck battles against players a half foot taller or more?
You work smarter, not harder. I've always been smaller. So I'm used to that type of, style of play, and just finding ways to use my speed, my skating, as an advantage. Sometimes being lower to the ice is actually more difficult for taller players to play against. So just using that to my advantage. And, I'm not going to lie, sometimes I get blown up and that's okay. Like, I'm a smaller player and that's fine. But for the most part, I hold my own in battles, and I play pretty physical for my size. So I've never really let that be a disadvantage for me, especially because it's something I can't change. So I just got to live with it and use it to my advantage the best I can.
Cayla, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you so much. It was nice speaking with you. Bye.